Hey there, y'all. So good to have you on the live stream this evening. Having kind of semi-major tech issues, so I apologize for the dysfunction of the start. It wasn't smooth and I am running late. So that's all my fault because I was trying to run it too close to the clock, but we're going to jump right in. I'm having some problems with my phone syncing to my software for the camera usage of the live stream tonight. So I'm going to kind of work on that a little bit as we go, but I wanted to start the live stream just so you all knew I was here and we can get started. Hopefully this software will sync up like it's supposed to and work like it's supposed to. So great to have you all here with me again. If you have been here, hi Lola, so good to see you as always. Happy to have you on the live stream. Thanks for joining us. If you have been with this live stream before, you know that it is pretty laid back, clearly. We roll with the punches, but it is my process of learning to paint. And so I bring you along every week and we attempt a new painting. We're going to continue this week with our images of Europe, some of this kind of micro series I've wanted to do of some references that I took in Europe this past summer. And so we worked on the last couple of weeks. We started this one, which is a painting of a sailboat in harbor in Lisbon. I ended up repainting the whole thing. Need to go back and refine the boat some more. I moved the boat all around and did some major changes to this one, but I'm much more happy with how it's going. Need to repaint the water and some of the sky, but it's getting there. And then last week we started this one. I haven't done any more work on this street scene in Lisbon, but I'm really happy with how it's coming. The big challenge here was obviously the shade and making sure getting the shade on the different sides of the street and the light correct and making it read correct. So this was a fun one that I'm looking forward to finishing up the detail work. But I think all the main pieces are there for a successful painting. So we're going to continue scenes of Lisbon this evening. Let me see before I turn over if my... Oh, nope. See, you're just getting a blank... screen when I switch to my phone. Let me try it again. That's so weird. I apologize. Okay, the feed is coming through. It's just not coming through on the software. I wonder if I can remove a camera. I don't know how to... That's so frustrating. I'm sorry. Let's see what we can do. Usually if I restart it, it ends up... Why is this? I don't understand. No. It will show up, the feed will show up, but it's just not showing up anything. Anyway. So weird. So weird. Without stopping my software, I wonder, let me try this again on my phone. Let me close it all down. Open it again. See if it will pick it up now. I'm afraid it won't. No, shoot. Let's see what we can do. This software, they did an update to the software I use for my streaming and it doesn't like this other interface that I use on my phone. So like you can see like my phone is working as a camera, but it's not, the software is not picking it up. So I don't know why it's not. And I can't stop the streaming software or I lose all of you, which that is the worst thing I don't want to do. So we will figure it out. Oh, now I'm getting weird focusing issues. There we go. Oh, see? That's the software I'm using. But then when it picks up, it's just that gray screen. Okay, well, that is extremely frustrating, but that's kind of my fault because I started the live stream late and didn't test everything ahead of time. So I think what we'll do as a stop measure, I am going to take, let's see, this out. I am going to take the camera that I typically use for my palette camera, and I am going to change that over and mount it on my tripod and just use that. This live stream, we just won't have a palette cam, so I apologize for that. Y'all just have to bear with me. I know that my mixing of paint is just riveting content, and you can't hardly survive without it there in your view, but I promise we will make it work. If, oh, maybe I might have to see how this works. All right. Okay, I have a camera. I might put it over. All right, let me show you what we're painting tonight. We are going to paint this. Let me come this way, or maybe move that. There we go. This scene of Lisbon, the roofs of Lisbon, and this is, I'm not sure if this is the cathedral, or it's just a church, but I thought was visually interesting, and so we are gonna dive into this one this evening. So that's what we're gonna do. I'll flip you over. I want to say thank you and hello to all of you that have joined recently. And as I said, this is my Learn to Paint journey, and I've been doing this for a couple of years. No Beard Kid, what inspired you to start streaming? Actually, during COVID, I started teaching myself to paint, and I just started streaming mostly as a way to not feel so disconnected from the world and from people. And as I started painting, I loved it more and more. And so I do this every Monday evening and just invite people all across the internet to join. So I'm so grateful to have you. Thanks for joining. Always love when my Twitch audience joins. I know Twitch, that's not the primary demographic for Twitch streamers, but I always love having y'all join. So thanks for joining the live stream. It is laid back. It is kind of open house. Just pop in, stay as long as you'd like, and feel free to ask questions, make comments, or suggestions as we go through the stream. All right, I'm going to switch my camera over to the canvas so you can see. Oh, and I need to make sure that we rotate that so that you can see the canvas, and I need to adjust the impromptu or the improvised camera here. And maybe, there we go. That, hopefully that will help you out. Maybe that will work, at least for now. It's going to be a little tricky because it's kind of right in my way, and then I'm going to reach in front of you, but maybe we can do that. All right, so let's jump in. Keep in mind that you are seeing kind of from the side, so it will look a little skewed for you, and I apologize in advance for that. Again, my camera's acting up kind of through me, so yeah. Oh, awesome. Hey, Jerry, thanks so much. Thanks for popping in. Glad to have you all join from just up the road across town. All right, so what we're going to do first is I have the reference in front of me as well. And the graph or the grid that you see outlined on the painting is on my canvas panel. And so I'm going to basically lay out some of the composition, and we'll start getting some composition in here. And I think I'm going to adjust this so that it's more of a sunny composition, but we'll start with just getting in the major kind of layout of where things are. So we have a roof line kind of here. Then we have this here. Another roof line that goes down there. Approximately there, kind of like that. And our other roof line here. Thanks, No Beard. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. Always appreciate kind encouragement. This will have to be adjusted a little bit, but it gives us the main thought or feeling. I'm bringing this up a little bit. We'll go there. All right. Kind of goes like that. We'll have to adjust some of these angles. But it gives us the rough outline of the roofs that we need, the rooftops. I'm going to take a little of this and some burnt sienna. Just to bring in some of the orange color to these rooftops. We'll just block in the main blocks of value shift. So do that. Start kind of doing an underpainting, essentially. My reference is a little out of proportion to my, because I proportioned it for an 8x10, and this is, I think, a 11 by 17, 11 by 14, and so the proportions are a little off, so I'm trying to adjust on the fly. I should have noticed, or I should have made note of that, but so it won't be as nice, I don't think, the painting as I want it to be, but it will be really, we'll get it there. It'll be cool. And it's all about the process, right? It's about learning and about the process. Welcome, welcome. I see a few more people have popped in. So glad to have you on the live stream. Feel free to comment or ask questions as we go through this evening. Always so glad to have you here as I learn to paint in front of you. All right. Now, what we need is to put our some of this in place, because this is going to be the center. So I want to draw that. You'll notice I'm using a larger brush. Like I start typically with a fairly large brush. This is probably a 1 inch or 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. And I'm just doing broad strokes, literally. just to put in some of the shape. So this is now here. Right now, again, I'm just covering my canvas, trying to get the major shapes correct in the correct placement, doing a little tiny bit of color work, a little tiny bit of value work, but mostly just trying to cover the canvas. Again, putting things in the right place, then we'll go from there. Put in all kinds of detail, but this gets us started. All right, and then we need to go in here. Construct these, these kind of we'll have to construct these architectural components, but there we go. We want to do some lighter work there. Starts to give us some feel for what's happening here. All right. That gives us a starting point. Then we'll go in and put in some, first off, since I have my phone camera is not being used, I'm going to step back and take some photos. Usually do that with my iPad, but I'll take some progress photos as we get started. Okay, not really happy with, I'm okay, but not totally happy. The Grand Coronado Hotel. I don't believe so, unless the Grand Hotel is in Lisbon. I think it's a church. I believe above on the reference photo where these lines cross, you can see, I think there's like an entrance or a saint or something up there. But I don't know. And the top, there is a cross there. So I assume it's a church, or it was a church. And it is a kind of recognizable rooftop in Lisbon, in the old city, but I don't know Lisbon well enough yet to know exactly what it is. So it sits below the National Pantheon, kind of on that sweep of Lisbon rooftops. This is kind of zoomed in. I do want to do a larger painting of the entire kind of roofscape of Lisbon, in that part of Lisbon, and it sits down here, and the National Pantheon sits up above, which we did a painting of the National Pantheon months and months ago. It's actually in my living room right now, but yeah, that's kind of, I don't know Lisbon very well at all. So, but yeah, I don't think it's the Grand Coronado. Where is the Grand Coronado? Hey, Shirley, so good to see you. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. We are just a burgeoning live stream tonight, but I appreciate all of you popping in, and several new faces popping in, and it's a lot of fun. All right, we're gonna go. I'm going to saturate this, or bring up the saturation of this image a little bit, because when I took this picture, the sun was bright sunlight. Not at all the best time of day to take these pictures. It was like full on. It was like the first day we went to Lisbon. We got there at like 7 in the morning, and we wandered all over. We had to waste time till 3 p.m. before we could get into the Airbnb. And so we wandered all over Lisbon and went to kind of a lookout over the city and took these pictures. But it was the height of the afternoon sun, so it's kind of the harshest light to take photos. And the sun then went behind a cloud for a few seconds, and I got this, but it really desaturates and makes the image a lot more dull. So I'm gonna kind of go back to my memory and bring it out of the clouds into the sunlight again. Hey Bob G, thanks. So good to see you. Can't wait to see you in a couple weeks in person. We're just gonna, I'm putting sky all the way down just because I want to lower the horizon a little bit. So I'll bring the water actually behind here, down here, as opposed to up here like it is in the reference, because I don't, again, the proportions are a little off, so I'm going to pretend like I'm taking this a little bit lower. And hopefully it won't ruin the painting, but I don't think it will. Since it's my painting, I can do what I want, sort of. Within reason, right? Plus, I need to cover this with a bunch of layers anyway. Man, our air must be really dry today. The paint's just like... It's like super dry. Super dry. It was beautiful and kind of sunny today for most of the day. So spring is coming. I heard today's the first day of spring. Is that true? We got some spring weather, but supposedly tomorrow I think we're getting more snow. Not a ton of snow, but just inconvenient snow. Probably an inch or two, 3, 4, 10. Who knows? We'll know when it comes, I always say. When it shows up on the mountain is when we know what we got. So... now that I'm confident that my composition is okay, I'm not being as precise with my lines because I'll paint over this background when I refine the architecture. All right. We'll let this sit a little bit, and then we'll do another layer. That way we get all of these lines covered up well. The underpainting and the toning of the canvas is covered. Don't necessarily want any don't want any of that showing through. All right, all right, all right. As Matthew McConaughey would say. What think you all? Y'all. Let me step back and take a couple of photos and take a look at this. Yeah, this is kind of a mess, but we'll get there. All right, so I think I want to come in and get a little more precise. I need to get some new brushes. New brushes. I'm gonna do some burnt sienna, some burnt umber. Maybe a little, I don't know if I really need some, maybe some yellow ochre. Not sure if I'll need that. And a little raw sienna. We'll try to come in and do some more on these rooftops, but I want to figure out that's not what I want. I'm trying to find my previous, had a previous photo up of Lisbon in full sunlight because I want to look at how the roofs were colored, because I think the sun comes from the top but kind of the right. That's kind of the, as I remember. So the sun is, it's pretty direct over, but it's going to be brighter kind of on the top right side. But I actually need to look at this just to remind myself so that I can adjust accordingly. But it's taking forever for these to load. Oh my goodness. I need like a superpower computer. I guess we don't need this software because literally it's not working. All right, okay, here I see. Yeah, so yeah, so this will be in shade. It looks like, so the top of this will be bright, and then the lip of this is over, like strong enough that it is, it casts a shadow down the wall. So let's first see if we can put in some details of this to give us a place to kind of rest on. We'll kind of do that. Put some, Again, remember that you're looking at this from the side because of my camera kerfuffle. So it will look a little skewed. Like this looks like it's going way weird up, weird angle. But it's not. Take that. This will give us some kind of grounding to understand what's going on. So we want to put a kind of a that there. We'll shape that. Then over here, we'll go we'll see if we can fix those. Kind of put that, and over here we need to do the same. Ah, Hotel del Coronado is located in San Diego. Has some architectural similarities to this hotel. Okay. Yeah, I will look up. I will have to look up what this building is in. Actually, Google's really smart that way, isn't it? Let's see if Google will tell us what this building is. Looking for results. Aha! How appropriate. It's the Church of St. Stephen in Lisbon. Yeah. Fascinating. So this is what the front of the church looks like, if I can get my camera to focus on it. Very beautiful behind the... I'm looking... Obviously, my reference photo is a little bit different angle. But, yeah, the Church of St. Stephen. It is a recognizable kind of landmark in Lisbon, though, in the of the rooftops of Lisbon. So yeah, very cool. All right, now I know what church it is. I don't think I actually visited that because I would have remembered St. Stephen. I wish I knew Portuguese so I knew how it's pronounced. I know Igreja is Iglesia. Igreja is the church of Estevão. I don't know. Not gonna guess. Well, I just guessed, but if anybody knows any Portuguese and can tutor me, feel free to school me. Then this is oh, I'm sorry. I got in your field of view and it kind of messed up the, whoops, we'll paint over that. I'm just going to put some lines in to give us a little more definition and a little bit better understanding of what's happening in the rooftops here. So just some roof lines. All right. Gotta figure out how to if you can put those landmarks in, then it makes it easier, at least in my estimation, to put in like these little windows and things, because then I can use them as references for my detail work. All right. Kind of gives us some place to go, Kind of want to go back now and do another layer of the sky. So let's do that real quick. See if we can get complete cover this time. Let me look at, yeah, it was like gorgeous sunny day. So I want to actually really get that. So that really reads. Especially up here at the top, because we want that dome of the church to really stand out. At least I do. And since I'm the artist, let's make it happen. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. This will give us all kinds of really beautiful brush texture in the sky. Yeah, this is so pretty, the way it's drying. And if we can put the horizon line, if we can do this correctly, then we'll really recede the, we can put the water way out in the distance. It'll be clear that we're near water, but it will also be clear that it is way out there. And I'm purposely kind of painting over the tops of these rooftops because we want to be able to sculpt them in a little bit better. So I want to make sure it's easier to put roofs over the sky than to have to put the sky back around the roofs. So all of our tight, sharp lines we want to do over the top of this layer. But I'm fairly happy with the what we're getting. Now I wonder if I can do need to kind of figure this out. I'll put some clouds in here, but I want them to be very loose, kind of unformed. Almost the suggestion of clouds. All the way across the horizon, disappearing behind the rooftops. I don't know if that brings this to, it's hard for y'all to see, I think, but let me see if I turn this off, if that helps. Oh yeah, you can kind of see where I'm bringing clouds across, but I don't know if they're too far forward, you know, or I guess not, but sorry, I took this down just to work it a little better. Yeah, we want, because the sun is coming from the very top, so we really want these clouds to be most reflective at the top. All right, we'll see. The hard thing with anything organic is making it look organic, not just doing repeated patterns, because our eyes and our minds and everything look for patterns, and so we're trying to create patterns all the time, even when we don't necessarily want them. Because I don't want like bump, 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 like stairs in the clouds, basically. But good thing is we can always paint over them, and yeah, we have that prerogative to paint over them. I think what I'm going to do is come in with a little cooler blue, taking in some ultramarine blue, which gives us almost a purple hue, and see if I can do some almost shadows underneath these highlights. That gives us not only visual interest, but will give us additional, hopefully the intent is kind of more three-dimensional quality to these clouds, especially at a distance. Taking kind of a greenish blue down below the clouds so that there's contrast above them. The other thing to remember, and one reason I'm doing this, it looks lighter or will look lighter to the eye because as we get to the horizon, there's more, remember our rule about as you get to the horizon, there's more atmosphere to look through. So your light or your colors up above are always more saturated, and they're less saturated as you get closer to the horizon because you're looking through more atmosphere. And it's almost like some heat lines in the desert. But all right, I'm kind of digging this. So let me turn this off so that you all can kind of see a better view of what this looks like. I mean, I know it's in the dark, but let me go and hold it direct on. So we have the sky. I'm kind of liking the sky. I may put additional highlights in. Let me see if I turn this on, if it messes up. No, it doesn't quite. So I'll put additional highlights probably and maybe lighten this even more. But it gives really, you could see without doing anything to the roofs are already popping, which is what I want. Because that's the feeling when you're in Lisbon, is like it's this surreal, like I fell in love with the roofs of Lisbon before I fell in love with anything else. Just because they stretch, this terracotta roofs stretch and stretch and stretch, and they're just this vibrant, bright orange against the blue, and then the ocean behind, and it's just breathtaking, in my opinion. I'm a little biased because I fell in love with Lisbon hardcore, so take that for what it's worth. But I am pleased with kind of where we're going with this painting. So we'll keep going down that road. And again, I'm sorry, it kind of gives you a really inaccurate view of the painting because of the way my camera this camera compensates for the light. It adjusts on its own. So, but I think we're getting there with the background. I want to come in once this dries completely and put in the water line. So I don't want to do any of these roof lines against the water, but we can start doing some of the building detail. So let's spend the next 30-40 minutes doing that before we wrap up this bad boy. We're gonna put some more, we need some white, and then we're gonna need more. We have burnt umber, we have all our browns out here, so let's just kind of get with it. All right, where do we want to start? I think I kind of want to start with this because it's not only kind of the furthest in the background, but it is also the clear focal point of the painting. So let's start with some brownish colors. Let's see, brown, and we're gonna need a little blue, and then we'll need some, white, a little blue, a little burnt umber. By giving the burnt umber is anything burnt umber, burnt sienna. The burnt gives it a little warmer. It's like the brown is warmer. It gives a little more red. So we cool it down by adding a little, very little ultramarine blue, and that helps to give us a little more gray tone, and that will give us some, I don't know if it will show, oh, it looks white on there, but it will give us hopefully some it will give us a little bit of like it's in the shadows. So a little more gray hue. And then when we take the blue out with that same mixture, then we have our sun tone, or our tone in the sun, and it looks like a similar, very similar granite or rock that it is built from. Again, I'm not going all the way to the, not finishing the lines against the sky, but we'll just put, this gives us an opportunity to start shaping this. So that because it's a very specific, I don't know what type of architecture this is, but the domes, I noticed this yesterday too, or last week, with the kind of cathedral that was in the background that we were painting. It's a very specific kind of shape that's like rounded on top and then slopes quickly to a, and it's very kind of, we'll hone that. Okay, let me put a little more blue into this. a little more brown to take it down a little bit, because we're coming under the, just so I can feel the value difference. There. Need just a tad of the red in here to give us a, it's very subtle, but on this side we have a little bit of reflection from the rooftop that I'm noticing, so we'll mix that in and it'll help give us some difference in the All right, we're starting to rectify some of the mistakes we made. I need to move this a little more up, I think. But that's good. We're getting these, I think these portions and things laid out a little better. Now, okay, I want to do, people always, not people always, but often people will say something about, oh, a painting looks so good. And I always say it's a series of like learning the rules. And seriously, like once you do, yes, there are certain things, but like knowing that the top line needs to be a little like white yellow, and then this is adding a little blue, indicates the like we are at the this is the shadow underneath. It's the same stone, the same whatever, but now we're in a little bit of a shadow space. And you just keep carving a little more and a little more until it looks right. And the key is knowing how much you actually have to carve versus how little you have to do, if that makes sense. People like Sargent and others are kind of the masters because they basically knew when to stop. I'm mixing a little yellow ochre and some white, a lot of white, yellow ochre, and a tad of ultramarine blue and burnt umber to give me the color for this building here. We're just gonna start blotting it in. We can always paint over it, but that will give us this. Something to contrast. Again, we won't put a lot of detail. There's more of this building visible in the reference photo. And I really, at this point, wish I had changed the dimensions of my reference photo to match my canvas, so that I thought I was going to be painting on an 8x10, but I didn't have any 8x10s, because that would have allowed me to do a bit more. Okay, we're taking this a little more red, a little more burnt umber in the back. This is what will go. At least that's what I'm doing for at least right now, the lightest parts of the church. Although I think they're and we just keep, and because we're working in acrylics, this will help us by doing multiple layers, essentially, of a variety of color schemes or a variety of color warmths, etc. It will help us to build up layers, but also a variety in the stone so that it looks a lot more varied, and there's texture in the stone. All right, we're doing good. Oh, my computer's about to die. If I go dead, I apologize. What is going on? Sorry, people. I gotta fix this quick. I don't know why it's not charging. Okay, I may lose you. And if I do, I really apologize. I guess it's just not my night tonight. Oh, there it's charging. Oh, technology, y'all. Okay. Let's see if we can keep on track. Persistence and perseverance is half of success, isn't it? Just not quitting when anyone else would, when it's annoying and the technology's not working, etc. That's half of it. That's it, y'all. All right, the church is starting to rise out of this blob. Every once in a while, we make something that works, make something that looks decent. Oh, I'm losing my brush. Okay, since we did that, now I'm going to jump out. Step back and look at this. I really, really like the composition. That's what's wonderful. When you're painting something that architectural masters have, spent their time and energy on, it's like, as long as I do this, like, the subject is not terribly difficult, because, I mean, it is what it is, but it's not as hard because these people that created this made it beautiful already. I just have to kind of show up and do my business. Do my what is required of me, which is show up and paint. Okay. Now, I want to go in and I want to put in the C. So let's go in and put the C right about there. Even though that's probably not totally accurate, I'm lowering the C a little bit. I'm not going to put all the detail from the reference photo. I want the C to look like it's far, far in the distance, or as far as possible. So I don't want it a very clear line, not a lot of detail. Want it stark contrast against the sky, as well as the rooftops, because this is what it looks like there, and it just takes your breath away. It's like, oh my goodness, is this real? That's what it feels like when you're there. That said, my goal is to go back January to about April next year. So if you're in Europe, please let me know and come by and say hello. We can go look at all these places. Okay, let me lay this out. Approximately, I need to get some painter's tape in my studio. See, I did it wrong. I need painter's tape in my studio so I can do things like that more effectively. This water comes all the way down on the side of this church, so we will bring it all the way in, all the way down. And I can always put a tree in there, but that gives us a definitive line Okay, now I want to take a little bit of this sky color and see if I can. Might have to work on that a little bit, but there we go. Now I wonder if I do this. So now that we've established a really sharp blue line, we'll bring in a little bit of yellow so that it gives us that sea kind of turquoise color of the sea. We'll bring that over here. As it comes closer to us, it's going to be more and more of the yellows and greens and less of the deep sea blue. But let's not go too crazy. There we go. Okay, I'm not going to overpaint it. Just going to let it be what it is for now. See if I still like this. I'm going to step back. I think I like it, composition-wise. Yeah, so now we have about 15, 20 minutes. So let's see if we can figure out how our roofs need to be. So the sun is overhead, which is really difficult because it's hard to paint the roofs then and show a variety of, but we want that bright orange color. A little bit of there. Yeah, let's see. So we have I think I am going to fudge this just a little bit, if you all will allow. All right, I'm just trying to get these shapes so that they work and they don't look weird. Because obviously most of us will never get up on top of this church to see, like, oh, is it exactly like it looks there? But if, you know, the slope or the joining of the roofs looks strange just from what we know of roof lines, then it's going to be weird. So that's what I'm just trying to do. I think we're getting there. We'll just add a little blue and more brown to the burnt umber as we go a little bit back here, so that these roofs look, so there's just some difference among the various roof lines, because they're basically all in the same space of the like field of vision, but yeah. And these, we'll bring this one down so it goes down a little bit more. Again, this is what I mean by sculpting. So we sculpt in a little bit. I'll bring in all right, we have about 5 minutes or so. Okay, so I always just run out of time, y'all. But I think I have another one that I'll really love when it's done. Even though we got off to a rocky start, it will come together. Yeah, I'm liking this. I'm really liking this composition now. Hey there, Daniel. Sorry I didn't see your comment till just now. So glad that you popped in, my friend. Man, after all that work, and we basically just got a good underpainting done. But, as we all know, that's not a bad thing. What I want to do now, in the remaining minutes I have, is just kind of a few little things that I can do, which are, I want to go back and put in as well as I can these chimney here. Start putting in specific shapes. And we'll have to carve these out again as we go. But that at least gets us started when we go into it again. What is underpainting? So underpainting, probably, I don't even know if I'm using it correctly, but basically it's like this, I would consider underpainting, other than maybe the sky. The sky's a little more finished, but it's also can be called modeling, where you go in and you basically put in the rough drawing of your painting, the major shapes, you make the major compositional decisions. You could put some color. Sometimes I just do a monochromatic color. In this one, I obviously have put color in. But this is in no way, there's no detail work basically done. Let me briefly turn off the reference photo and then bring you and the camera direct in front of this painting so you can see And maybe if I turn off the overhead light, it will show a little better. Okay, I think that's about as good as we'll get. So, yeah. There we go. All right, so Daniel, you can see that there's really no detail here, especially if I bring this closer. It's just like smudges of paint. There's no detail work. I mean, you kind of can, I mean, you could tell what it is, and you could tell there's like windows or at least some kind of shadow spots. But, oh, my camera doesn't want to, come on, camera, focus. Doesn't want to focus again. Sorry about that. Daniel, I've had problems with technology all evening long, so this is annoying. Anyway, that's what underpainting is. It gives you a good starting point to go in and then add the detail. Man. You have to give it something to focus on. Don't judge my wrinkly. There we are. Now it's in focus. So, yes, it is absolutely a foundation for the painting. And great masters often would do layer after layer after layer. That's why, you know, the great masters would spend, of course, it was oil painting, which takes forever to dry too. And some of them didn't, they were making their own, most of them their own pigments and their own paints and out of a variety of things, egg yolk and other things. But once we started painting with oils, you would do layer after layer after layer, and you just minimally add a little more color, a little more color, a little more color as you go, and build up the texture and the depth. And that's what gives a lot of the masters the luminosity of like paintings they worked on. Their paintings seem luminous when you look at them. So that's really why that happens. As opposed to something like, well, here's another one, the one that we did last week, Daniel. I don't think you saw this because I showed it at the beginning of my live stream, but this is the one we started last time, and it is also basically it's a little more advanced underpainting. There's a little more shadow and light and variety, but it's still basically an underpainting. If I bring it close, you can see again, there's just broad swaths of shadow and light. There's no real, even in the guy's backpack, there's no detail. It's just splotches of color. You could tell what it is, but you can't really tell. It makes me wonder if, no, it's not. I was like, I wonder if this is the same church, but it's not because of the top. So that's what I mean by underpainting. So we got a good foundation, and I'm going to keep working on these European sketches for, yeah, I'm going to just keep working. I'm going to lift this up and do lots of layers, add noticeable weight. Perhaps if you were doing a large painting like, you know, 10 feet by 15 feet or huge, and you're using very, very thick paint, but it's not particularly, yeah, a different style of Impressionism. Yeah, Impressionism, a lot of Impressionist painters, I'm going to move everybody back. A lot of Impressionist painters were literally capturing impressions. So the goal was to paint fast. A lot of times they were painting in plein air, which is outside. And so you have to capture the lighting very quickly because it changes minute by minute. And so Impressionism, a lot of it was, I mean, there was much more to it, but it was how do we capture this feeling more than anything, almost sometimes more than the image. If you've seen some of Monet's things up close, or of course Van Gogh is how I guess it's supposed to be pronounced with a f sound. So anyway, I'm just rambling now, but yes, Impressionism is generally looser brush strokes, not as much detail. The detail is in how the brush strokes are applied. But you see something very similar, and I've mentioned John Sargent many times because I really admire his ability to lay down brush strokes, minimal brush strokes. And when you see a Sargent painting, it's just breathtaking, and you know it's Sargent right away. If you haven't seen his paintings, just Google real quick and look at John Sargent's paintings. And then when you zoom in, especially when he's painting fabrics or skin tones, you're like, whoa, I didn't know there were all those purples and grays and browns, and then you back up and it's a person, or it's the folds of material in a dress or something, and it's beautiful to look up close and see that kind of brushwork. So anyway, that's my little mini lecture on art appreciation and what I'm trying to learn to be more technically adept at manipulating all of these variables to produce the outcome that I want. So little by little, we're getting there, or we will get there. Almost like a daydream of a scene instead of striving. Yes, often it's not striving for meticulous photorealism. Now we've gone the opposite direction. There are artists who do photorealism to the point you can't even tell it's not a photo, which is a whole nother set of fascinating, fascinating skills. And I saw a video recently where an artist was describing how to develop, or how artists develop their style. And there's these scales of photorealism to complete abstract, and you fall somewhere in that range depending on if you want to focus on the detail or the actual like laying down of the brush strokes. Do you want people to look at it and see the brush strokes and appreciate the brush strokes? Then you'll have a looser, more impressionist maybe style, less realist, but you can get things that are very realistic. It's very clear what it is, and it's breathtaking with not a lot of detail. And so it's really, that is fascinating to me, that balance, and finding, I still have not found my own balance, and it's going to take a little more developing my ability and my I don't know what the word is, adeptness, if that's a word. I don't think it is, but being more adept at knowing exactly when to lay down the brush strokes and how to lay them and how often, and when to stop more than anything. So that's something I'm exploring and will continue to explore as I develop my skills. So I do want to say thank you to all of you who joined me this evening through all the drama of the technical glitches and blips. I'm going to try to work to get the camera situation resolved so that we will be much smoother next week. Next week we will have episode 99 of the Paint Party live stream, because I believe this is 98. So episode 99, we're almost to 100. And then you'll have to wait a few weeks because I will be out of town for several weeks. Coming back, I may get one more in the end of April, but I'm not sure. Check YouTube. I'll adjust all the dates based on when I'm going to be out of town. Otherwise, it may be like the first or second week of May. I do have to go out of town again for business early in May, end of April. So I'm going to be back, do laundry, repack, and go again for work. So April will be kind of a very sporadic month as far as live streams. But hopefully we can get through episode 99, maybe even 100, and that will be a great accomplishment. It's crazy to think that I've painted 100 paintings or done 100 episodes. I've done over 100 paintings though, even the episodes where I've done the same painting, because there's a whole pile of paintings on the floor that are just discard paintings. So anywho, thank you so much. Have a great evening, a great week. It was great to see you all, and I look forward to seeing you again next week at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, right here, wherever you're watching, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever, Twitch. But glad to have you this evening, and I hope you have a great week, and I'll catch you next time. Take care, everybody, and yeah, I've already said that. I'll see you next time.